We have got a 16mm earth, but this will be replaced anyway. So this is the board. So it's a BG Fortress. It's pressed out of one-piece steel, which is actually really, really important because today we're going to be getting on with fitting the board. So we're on the rewire job and we're coming very, very close towards the end. Lou is still filling within an inch of his life and the clients need to come back. So we've got to get on with getting the board fitted straight away and power up as many circuits as we possibly can before the end of play. Now I've got an alarm to remove, which I'm going to be doing that in a moment. Hopefully that doesn't start having an absolute mental fit, because if it does, that means I'm going to get the ladders out from the van, get soaked, get the bell box off, and be pretty much very, very annoyed. Hopefully that's not a fight, because they say we don't want it anymore, it's not been used for a long time, it doesn't work and all the rest of it, and we want it out. Cool, okay, no worries, we can sort that out, but actually, is that going to happen? So the board of choice, what we're fitting today, we're going to be fitting a BG Fortress board. We'll go into more detail of that. They are an amazing board, really, really are, and they are my go-to for value for money, and quality are matched by none. Now, it's an SPD board, so it's got surge protection device fitted at source, and we've also got the full RCBOs that are going in, because we've done this rewire on multiple circuits pretty much per room. The reason behind that is because obviously as they decorate all the way through, it will make life a hell of a lot easier. And also we have tried to save the client a lot of money along the way. When we found things that we can salvage, then we are. Hence the reason why the conservatory is now no longer being absolutely butchered, because we have traced out the wires, done our testing, which you may have seen in a previous video. So we found out where that was and actually did all the testing, and it tested fine. So we've basically made a decision that we're not going to just replace it for the sake of replacing it. So on that note, if you haven't yet subscribed, then make sure you do. Link is in the corner, turn your notifications on, and you will follow journeys like this where we are showing all the hints and tips all the way throughout the videos. So the plan is that we've got to take this out because that's right in my way. And then the theory behind is this is an original lighting circuit, which is for the bathroom that got renovated fairly recently, but some reason they managed to hash it into that lovely thing. So this is all going to be going, but at the minute we've got a temporary supply in which takes into account the new office, so that is up and running at the minute. But we need to get this off first before we do anything else, because we're going to put some trunking on and then bring it down into sort of this area where we're going to be mounting the new board. Now it is a stud wall, which makes things interesting. So we need to get a decent fix in on there. So as you can tell, the homeowners like to spray paint everything. Hence the reason why the main cutout fuse, it's all completely sprayed within an inch of its life. It's an 80 amp main fuse incomer. We have got some 25mm tails in, which are fine, so 25mm up to there. So we'll be tapping into this point. We have got a 16mm earth, but this will be replaced anyway. Hopefully we can get them off without actually snapping anything. So yeah, so lots to do. Let's get that out. Okay, so that came out with no real problems as such. I was chuffed. I actually thought that there's going to be it's still energized a bit, and yeah, caused some issues, but winner. That obviously is the fuse spur for the power for that, so we've whipped that out. So that's gone, so that obviously will all come out when that comes out. All the old alarm cables, which are up here, the boards are still up upstairs, so we'll pull those out where we can. This one, like I say, is the power supply for the new bathroom lights that go into here, and then it was just pushed in, as you can still see the moulding of it that was pushed round. So we'll take that out of there and then push that back through here. Yeah, it's getting there, it's getting there. So we're gonna get the new board out, we'll get that mounted up, so that's all down here in place, and we'll get some trunking up So my plan is to get some 100 by 50 trunk in, get that across, and then come straight down and then into the back of the board. Okay, so we've now put a bit of trunking on, which is 100 by 50 mil. You may notice, thinking, why have you not just gone straight up? And the reason why, because Lou's directly above us right now, but there's actually laminate flooring from that corner onwards, so I can't get it because I can't pull all the floor up. So we've whipped out the temporary supply for that right now. And I've just had a phone call from a client and he's coming back earlier than expected, which now means that we are really up against it. Which puts a lot of pressure on to try and get things ready and sorted. So I will have to be firing through this as quickly as I possibly can. So this is the board. So it's a BG Fortress. It's pressed out of one piece steel, which is actually really, really important because a lot of them, they're not. They're a little like tack welded and all the rest of it. So multiple entry points, as you can see, all along the bottom, on the sides, both sides, and on the top, and also 4 on the back. Now, what you'll tend to find is that on previous ones, they didn't used to do that. Also, what we now use is obviously they've added on additional knockouts for the bottom because a lot of people like to come in at the bottom of the DIN rail, which is obviously down here, and then bring their cables through to try and hide everything a little bit neater. Not quite made up my mind whether I'm going to do that. It's a good board to do it on, in fairness, with this as it is. So that's fine. So one thing I will be using is some standoffs, which are, you have to excuse me because there's no power in the house now, so it's a bit dark. Hopefully you can still see this all right. So the standoffs are these. They're a great bit of kit, which are basically magnetic. I'm going to separate them. And they sit on the back there, so there's no faffing about. There's no moving about with these things. They literally just sit there, give you that little bit of a void to get the cables in from behind. And then we use some edging strip, which is that edging strip, which we're then going to bang around the bottom of these openings as so. So yeah, a lot to be getting on with. I've already put some speed fixings into the wall because obviously it is a stud wall. So put some speed fixings in, so I now need to really bomb on, get these knocked out, and get this on and get some power on as quickly as we possibly can. So wish me luck. Hi mate, you all right? Yeah, not too bad. You what? You coming back tonight? Mate, the board's hanging off at the minute. I haven't even got, there's no power on at the minute. Temporary supplies are gone, everything's gone at the minute. Yeah, it's just on lights. Well, Lou's going to try his hardest to get the floors down a bit, but yeah, all right, mate, that's fine. Yeah, I'll yeah, I'll see what I can do. All right, buddy, no worries. See you in a bit. Oh my God. This is ridiculous. Yo, morning. Yes, as you could probably gather, I was not very happy last night. Not very happy at all. So, supposed to have another 4 days, funnily enough, actually here, before they're coming back. But obviously something's happened, and I'm not going to go into details, but they need to be back because of the dog and all sorts of stuff. So, as you can gather, last night, well, the time I filmed that, now, let's get the lights on, but let there be lights, as you can gather. Woo. It was a long night, and it literally, that board, trying to get that up, and the last bit of time lapse you saw was an absolute pig. And I mean pig. I just, it kept, oh, I couldn't get, for the life of me, a decent fixing. It was just ridiculous. Like, it just, oh yeah, everything. You know when you feel like everything's against you? That's exactly what it is. That's what it happened. I then had to trace and find out where the studs were, and oh God, honestly, it was just so frustrating, so frustrating. So anyway, me and Lou stopped on really late, and we managed to get the board on, some power on, not everything, but most of it. And then Lou, bless him, ended up stopping here late because obviously he's Lou's staff, he doesn't have to work late. He's ended up getting the carpets back down in this room, that room, all the floorboards all screwed back down, which is fantastic. So the rooms are pretty much there, plus a square up, plus a hoover up. Oh God, yeah. So, and then I was so annoyed because obviously I wasn't planning on, it doesn't matter too much. I didn't really need to put that much effort into it. I was one breaker short as well. So I couldn't get the upstairs lights on anyway. So we had to put the temporary lights back up there. So Lou ended up tidying all the lounge and getting it all squared away. Like I say, he's done a really good job on all this. So it was an absolute headache. And to be fair, Lou went, oh, he could hear me just start to lose my head. It doesn't happen that often. It's just frustration, isn't it? It's just frustration, and it's, you know, we've all been there. So don't blame me too much. But that is genuinely what happened. That was the phone call that I had. So, right, let's guide you through. And at this point, I was too deep. I was way too deep. Temporary supplies off. There's no real way of having any sort of chance of doing anything other than just ploughing on. So this is where we're at. So we got our board mounted finally, but you may notice she is now off centre because I've had to move it all the way across to get her on. And this is where we left last night. So this is what would be the breaker for the power supply for what's going out to the garage. And then this one here is what will be for the boiler. So the boiler, as it stands right now, is still off its temporary supply. There was yeah, there was no way. And also I was supposed to go to another client's house to look at another job, and I had to ring them. They weren't particularly happy either, because it's been booked in for quite a while to go and have a look at. But they get it, you know, and then I just feel bad. And I said, look, I'll come out after, it's not a problem. But then, you know, they said, don't worry about it. So I'm doing that tonight. So it's fantastic. So there's loads of things that are going on. So that's how I've left the old board. You can clearly see there's no tail. So all you keyboard police, before you start going mental and going, no, you've left it with exposed live conductors. No, I haven't, because it's not connected to absolutely anything. So slow your roll, it's fine. So I'll whip that off today. Get that breaker in. I'll show you inside that board as well in a second. And then I can get that 6 amp RCBO in. But man, I was stressed. So stressed. So yeah, so majority of lights are on. Now, one thing that is really frustrating is the customer wanted to keep these lights for now because eventually, like I've said in several other videos, that this kitchen is going to be redone. They said, leave these lights, these are fine, these are fine. Well, they're not fine. They don't really work. So I think either the starters are gone, the lamps are gone, and then I've noticed in here now is that this tube up here doesn't even sit in the carrier. Yeah, so I think personally, I think I'm going to end up taking those down. I think I'm going to take these down and just put some pendants up or something, just so we can make sure that the lights are all good and they ain't going to keep ringing me going, the lights in the kitchen don't work, because this one doesn't work. This doesn't work. That one half works. That one doesn't. So not great. So yeah, right. Lou's going to be here in a second. He's just been fetching a load of stuff. But what we'll do, we'll get the board cover off and I'll show you how I've done it and go through the board itself a little bit. Because like I said, I was planning on showing you all that in the process of it. I just couldn't, because obviously it was just way too stressful. So let's get that board cover off and show you what I've done. Okay, so as with anything, making sure all the power's off before you remove anything like this. So don't worry about the meter tail stuff. I've still obviously yet to tidy all those up. But let's just go through the board itself. Okay, so that is the little beauty. Let everything falling off. So yeah, so hopefully you can see that pretty well. So as it stands, obviously we've got nothing, no voltage and stuff coming through here. So I've brought the cables in through the bottom, so rather than the top, brought all my earths up, but you can see like I've not completely polished this up. I was so stressed last night trying to sort this out. It was just ridiculous. So this is what's going to be my boiler supply. That's why that's like that. And then this one goes out to what is the garage, which is going to have another garage DB on there. We'll go through that as well. That'll be on another video in fairness, where we're sorting all that lot out. And then this one is for those upstairs lights that we didn't have. So you may just about see where I've wrote on what they were. So obviously some of these have been trimmed now. So that would have had 3 on it. So I just literally notched them, because as I was bringing them all on, I did all my earths first, and then I just marked them as I was going. So then that allowed me to put my RCBOs in and get them out of the way, so I could just lean them back up and I knew where everything was. I've actually, doing it this way is, I find, actually a nicer way of doing it. So got to pop this one back out, get that sorted, hence the reason why there's a gap here for my RCBO. So I'll cut that zip tie back off, get that gone, and then we can refit that. But fitting this board was an absolute pig. There's the amount of stress that caused me, to the point where I thought, I'm actually going to walk away. This is doing my head in at the minute. I need a minute, but I just didn't have time. So all I can do is apologise that I didn't film any of this, but you could probably understand. I mean, it probably would have made good content, but I was just completely losing my head. So yeah, it is what it is. So on here, I'll just quickly show you the RCBOs, right? So the RCBOs themselves, they come with a really long flying lead. Which is, if I have some cutters here, so I've literally just dumped everything. So the flying lead itself is mahoosive, which is great, because it means that you can populate any part of the board and still have slack. But what I've been doing is trimming. So I've been trimming them off, so cutting the excess off what it is, which is fine in my view. And then what I've been using then is some bootlace ferrules, which are these. Because it's multi-strand cable, you need to put some bootlace ferrules on, which is fine. They're not expensive, so get yourself some of those. Crimping tools, like 20 quid, and you have to do it. It's not a oh, it looks pretty. It's a functional thing that has to happen. So I've been going through all that. So yeah, so loads going on. So Lou is here now. So Lou, he is now getting on with taking down those kitchen lights, because I've made the decision that those lights are temperamental and I'm just sticking pendants up. I'm too far into this rewire to be worrying about the aesthetics of like office lights in a kitchen, and they don't work. So they don't work very well. So it's going to be one of those things where I'm constantly going to get called, Mike, the lights don't work. Mike, the lights in the kitchen don't work. So we're going to swap them out anyway, because it just, yeah. So right, anyway, let's get this RCBO in. So the decision was made and these lights are down. So Lou's been getting on with putting all the pendants up. So we've got that one there now, and this one. I should have really, hindsight, just insisted that's what's going to happen. So we'll get them all on. Bosh. So we've now got lights on there that are going to consistently actually come on, which would be great. So we're trying to get rid of a lot of the temporary stuff now, which can come off. Lou has just unplugged the charger, the one that I actually need. So Lou is just gone into the loft space, because he's going to get on with sorting out the loft light for me. So he's going to do that one. So I'm going to bring this up because obviously we've got no power up here for the lights other than what is the main bathroom. So whenever you're working, if you can get some power on some temporary lights like this one, this is a really, really good temporary light. And it makes all the difference. It really does make a difference for you actually wanting to work there. So I'm going to turn that back on at the board, which makes life a lot easier and nicer to be involved with. So let's get that power on then. Should make lose life a lot nicer. Okay, so he should have that light on now. So the loft light, nothing jazzy that's going up there. It's a loft light. So we're just going to put a pendant up. So obviously that's on now. So what we've got here, that comes out from the loop feed on that light. Lou is going to put up another pendant. So we could do a couple of things. Loop batten holder, could have done that. What I tend to find with loop batten holders, when people are putting stuff up, they knock them, they get smashed. Whereas the 6-inch pendants, yes, there's a bit more movement, but when they get knocked, because they do, it doesn't matter, because like you say, if you knock that, it's not going to break. Or we can put a 4-foot strip light, which is a really common thing that we do, but we've not been specified for that, and it is literally just a light. That's all that's needed up there. So yeah, so he's sorting that bit out. I need to start finishing off that board, get the old board off, and yeah, sort of put that bit to bed. So yeah, it's been a rough old journey, this one. Okay, so I'm now coming to remove the old board. Okay, so I just thought I'd go through a few things with you, and you may notice got the old gloves on, and there's a good reason for that. So like I say, no power, don't freak out, it's fine. So what this has got is also the dreaded green goo. The old cable cancer is in. Awful stuff. Hence the reason why you have to wear gloves when you come into, obviously, a property where you've got this. So you'll notice here, hopefully you can pick it up, where you see all that is leached all inside here. So all that green stuff is actually conductive as well. So this is how, so it's the breakdown of insulation. So what happens is that all leaches into there. It obviously conducts electricity. The sheathing all comes off and it actually starts a fire. You can tell it's an older cable. But what we've noticed as well in this property in particular is the higher the load on stuff, the worse it actually is. So it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter, and then it can jump across an arc, and yeah, really quite hazardous. So we now need to get rid of all that and take some of this out. So these cables, like I said, the reason why they put it on, they put a coating on these to try and prolong the life of the cable, and it didn't work. So we're going to strip all this out, and then we can foam up all the back, the cavity there, and just basically just get it gone and neaten it all up. Because none of this is no longer required, which is great. So yeah, right, I'll get that stripped out, and 2 ticks, I'll be back. Okay, so we now stripped all that board out and discovered a massive hole, effectively. So this is the big hole that we're now going to patch in. So we're just whacking another board on the top of it. We've brought down the earthing for the gas, so I need to put a label on here as well. So we're just going to go through sorting out all the labelling for the board. Now the one thing that is really cool about the BG boards is that you get this with it, that comes with all the boards. I'll try and do this one-handed, and you just tag that in there and it holds it up for you. So when you're doing all your labelling, that's not going to keep dropping down, and then once you're done with it, take her out, stick her on. Job's a good one. So we're going to get on with labelling now. You get obviously a massive sheet that comes with it, and we'll start sticking all those on. And then I've just printed my own labels for all what I want on here, for all the description for all the breakers. I've also put on a cleat on here, which I've used one of the other fixing points because there used to be a keypad here, and rather than make more holes in it, I've just used that one. Yeah, so it's pretty much sorted. So onto labelling. So labelling wise, I use a Brother label maker. And it's great, but it doesn't, it constantly asking for it to be charged. So it's really frustrating, I find at times. So you just get used to it. So what I'll do is I'll put on as many of the stickers that come with it as such. So there's a massive, I think they're called Legends, isn't it? What they're called. Right, off you get. So what we've, oh, I tell you what, I don't need this. I don't need this one. Gone mad. So with my one that I've made, I've realised that I've already put my main switch and everything on it. If you can hear some banging, Lou is currently getting on with the boiler supply now, so he's sorting all that bit out, which is amazing. And then stripping out the old rubbish that was still left inside the airing cupboard. One thing I do like about the label maker is that it's nice and neat, and we can stick all that on, make whatever labels we want, and keep it all nice and neat like that, right? So we need to put all our various warning labels on, you know, like this one's for the surge protection device. I tend to stick them up here, so they're a little bit more out of the way. And then we need to put our labels on for, you know, to say that we've got RCDs in place and how your frequency of testing, which is 6 months. Every 6 months, you're supposed to be pressing the yellow test buttons. And then we've got another one that we're using on here, obviously date of inspection, which we will complete on the very last day. And obviously it will tell you the next date of inspection as well. What's this? And then what I need to also do, which I don't understand why they don't have that on here actually, is a mixed colours one. What is that? Whatever that is. So yeah, so labelling it up is fairly straightforward, and I like to keep it neat like that. So it's all sorted. There should be another one on here that will say, well, I'll find it in a second, all to do with the surge protection device as well. I'll find it in a minute. So on the surge protection device, to say that obviously if the windows are red, they need to be replaced. If it's green, obviously it's all good to go and it's not been an issue. So yes, so that's pretty much it. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I know it's been a little bit disjointed, and like I say, if you haven't yet subscribed, I do promise the next video will be better than this one, because this one's been a little bit chaotic, as you can imagine. And I genuinely have had another phone call about 20 to 30 minutes ago to say that the dog's going to be here. So the dog's going to be here because it can't settle where it is. So who knows, you may see me, or I might be mauled to death by a dog. So thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.